The Dacian Wars, waged between the Roman Empire and the formidable Dacian kingdom, stand as a testament to the enduring spirit of both civilizations. At the heart of this conflict lay a struggle for dominance, a clash of empires that would leave an indelible mark on the ancient world. The Dacians, a Thracian people renowned for their ferocity and military prowess, posed a significant threat to the Roman Empire's northern frontier. Led by their cunning king, Decebalus, the Dacians were determined to resist Roman expansion and safeguard their independence. For the Romans, the Dacian Wars represented more than just a territorial dispute. They were a matter of imperial prestige and security. The Dacians had inflicted humiliating defeats on Roman legions in the past, and Emperor Domitian, known for his ambition and determination to restore Roman glory, was eager to avenge these losses and secure the empire's borders. The stage was set for a protracted and bloody conflict, one that would test the mettle of both empires. To truly understand the significance of the Dacian Wars, one must first delve into the distinct cultures and histories of the two empires locked in this epic struggle. The Roman Empire, at the zenith of its power, was a vast and sophisticated civilization. It boasted a well-organized military machine, advanced infrastructure, and a complex system of governance. Roman legions, renowned for their discipline and efficiency, had conquered vast territories, spreading Roman law, culture, and influence across much of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. In stark contrast to the sprawling Roman Empire, the Dacian kingdom, nestled in the Carpathian Mountains, was a more insular and less centralized power. The Dacians were skilled warriors, feared for their ferocity in battle and their mastery of guerrilla warfare. They were adept at utilizing the rugged terrain of their homeland to their advantage, launching swift raids and ambushes against their enemies. The Dacians were a proud and independent people, fiercely protective of their customs and way of life, which they perceived as being threatened by Roman expansionism. The seeds of conflict between Rome and Dacia were sown long before the outbreak of open warfare. Roman expansion into the Balkans, driven by a desire for territorial aggrandizement and access to valuable resources, inevitably brought them into contact with the Dacians. Initially, relations between the two powers were characterized by a mixture of diplomacy and suspicion. Roman emperors sought to secure their northern borders through a combination of military force and diplomacy, offering treaties and alliances to neighboring tribes, while simultaneously engaging in punitive expeditions to quell any signs of resistance. However, the delicate balance of power shifted dramatically in 86 AD when the Dacians, under the leadership of King Decebalus, launched a daring raid across the Danube River, catching the Romans off guard. The Dacians, skilled warriors with an intimate knowledge of the terrain, inflicted a crushing defeat on the Roman legions stationed in the province of Moesia, killing the Roman governor and plundering vast riches. This audacious attack sent shockwaves through the Roman Empire, shattering the image of Roman invincibility and provoking the outrage of Emperor Domitian. The Dacians had drawn first blood, and Rome, wounded and humiliated, prepared for a war of retribution. Outraged by the Dacian incursion and determined to avenge the humiliation inflicted upon his legions, Emperor Domitian swiftly mobilized his forces and launched a retaliatory strike into Dacia. The First Dacian War, which spanned from 86 to 89 AD, was characterized by brutal fighting and a series of costly engagements. The Romans, accustomed to open warfare and the disciplined formations of their legions, found themselves at a disadvantage against the Dacians, who employed guerrilla tactics, melting away into the dense forests and mountains only to reappear and launch surprise attacks on isolated Roman detachments. One particularly fierce battle took place at Tapai in 88 AD, where the Dacians, skillfully utilizing their knowledge of the terrain, ambushed and decimated a Roman legion marching through a narrow mountain pass. Despite this setback, Domitian's generals eventually managed to gain a foothold in Dacia, pushing deep into enemy territory and winning several significant victories. However, the Dacians, despite suffering heavy casualties, remained defiant, their spirit unbroken. Realizing that a decisive victory would be elusive and facing mounting pressure on other fronts, Domitian agreed to a negotiated peace with Decebalus. Emperor Domitian, the driving force behind the Roman war effort, was a complex and enigmatic figure. Often portrayed by his detractors as a cruel and tyrannical ruler, Domitian was also an able administrator and a skilled military strategist. He understood the importance of maintaining the integrity of the Roman Empire's borders and projecting an image of Roman strength to potential enemies both within and beyond the empire's frontiers. The Dacian Wars provided Domitian with an opportunity to bolster his image as a strong and decisive leader, capable of defending the empire's honor and exacting retribution against those who dared to challenge Roman might. He invested heavily in strengthening the Roman military, recruiting new legions and fortifying the empire's northern frontiers. Domitian's ultimate goal was not simply to defeat the Dacians, but to crush their spirit and incorporate their kingdom into the Roman Empire as a client state. Facing the might of Rome was Decebalus, the king of the Dacians. Decebalus, whose name translates to strong as 10 men, was a shrewd strategist and a charismatic leader who united the Dacian tribes under his banner. He understood that the Dacians could not hope to defeat the Romans in open warfare, so he adopted a strategy of attrition, exploiting the rugged terrain of Dacia to his advantage. Decebalus was not just a warrior king, he was also a skilled diplomat. He understood the importance of forging alliances and playing his enemies against each other. During the First Dacian War, he sought to create a coalition of tribes to challenge Roman hegemony, recognizing that a united front was essential to counter Roman expansionism. Although the First Dacian War ended in a negotiated peace, Decebalus knew that the conflict with Rome was far from over. He used the breathing space afforded by the treaty to strengthen his kingdom's defences, train his warriors, and prepare for the inevitable renewal of hostilities. The Dacian Wars witnessed a clash of contrasting military doctrines and strategies. The Roman army, the epitome of military organization and discipline, relied on its legions, heavily armed and armored infantry formations, to engage and overwhelm their enemies in open battle. Roman legionaries were equipped with standardized weapons and armor, including the gladius, pilum, and scutum, and were rigorously trained in formation fighting and siege warfare. The Dacians, on the other hand, favored a more fluid and adaptable style of warfare. They were masters of guerrilla tactics, utilizing their knowledge of the terrain to launch surprise attacks and ambushes, disappearing into the dense forests before the Romans could respond effectively. The Dacians were armed with a variety of weapons, including swords, axes, bows and arrows, and a fearsome curved sword known as the falx, which could easily pierce Roman armor. After 4 years of grueling warfare, both the Romans and the Dacians found themselves exhausted and depleted. Domitian, facing growing unrest within the empire and the threat of rebellion on the Rhine frontier, was eager to extricate himself from the costly conflict in Dacia. Decebalus, although undefeated on the battlefield, recognized the limitations of his resources and the dangers of provoking Rome further. In 89 AD, the two leaders agreed to a peace treaty, the terms of which were designed to save face for both sides. Under the terms of the treaty, Rome recognized Decebalus as king of Dacia and agreed to provide him with financial aid and military engineers. In return, Decebalus pledged his allegiance to Rome and promised to refrain from attacking Roman territories. However, the treaty was seen by many in Rome as a humiliating concession, a sign of Roman weakness rather than a pragmatic recognition of the realities on the ground. The peace was uneasy, a mere truce in a long-simmering conflict that would erupt again with even greater ferocity a decade later. The Dacian Wars, though ultimately inconclusive, had a profound impact on both Rome and Dacia. For the Romans, the wars highlighted the vulnerabilities of the empire's northern frontiers and the challenges of waging war against a determined and elusive enemy. The Dacians, despite their eventual subjugation by Trajan, left an indelible mark on Roman history and culture. The wars inspired some of the most impressive feats of Roman engineering and military architecture, including Trajan's Column, a towering monument in Rome that commemorates Trajan's victories in Dacia. The column's intricate carvings depict scenes from the Dacian wars, providing valuable insights into the military tactics, equipment, and daily life of both the Roman army and their Dacian adversaries. The Dacian wars serve as a reminder that even the mightiest empires are not invincible, and that even in defeat the spirit of resistance can leave an enduring legacy. Want more epic tales? Check out the channel for more information and hundreds of other history videos. Thank you for watching.